Why is it so difficult for Paul McCartney to pick his favorites when he helped write some of the most famous songs in history?
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
The answer lies in the weight of legacy. Every choice feels like he's ranking his own children. Fans may think it's just a casual list, but for Paul, each track is tied to deeply personal memories, studio battles, and life-changing moments. The real takeaway is simple. The songs we create often become more than art, they become milestones. Treat your personal milestones with the same respect. McCartney has finally admitted that Yesterday makes his personal list. But here's the twist. It isn't just because it's the most covered song in history. Paul sees Yesterday as a haunting reminder of fleeting inspiration, since the melody came to him fully formed in a dream. For him, the real value isn't popularity. It's proof that inspiration can strike uninvited and change the world. The takeaway is clear. Your eyes one morning, with a complete melody echoing in your head. No effort, no instrument, just pure music waiting to be written down. That's exactly how McCartney first experienced Yesterday. He rushed to the piano, played the notes, and was convinced he had accidentally stolen it from someone else because it was too perfect. The truth? It was entirely his. The lesson is striking. When an idea feels too good to be yours, it might actually be your best. When McCartney sat down to write Hey Jude, it wasn't for the world. It was for a child. Julian Lennon, John's son, was struggling through his parents' divorce, and Paul penned the song to comfort him. What began as a private gesture of compassion transformed into one of the most powerful anthems of hope ever written. The real lesson is striking. Kindness, even in the let it be, sounds like a universal message, but for McCartney it was intensely personal. He dreamt of his late mother telling him those words during a stressful period in the band's life. That advice turned into a timeless song about surrendering to peace in the middle of chaos. The truth here is powerful. When life feels overwhelming, sometimes the wisest move isn't to fight harder, but to pause and let clarity come to you. Among his chosen favorites, McCartney highlights Blackbird, and not just for its haunting melody. He's explained it carried a dual purpose. It symbolized the fight for civil rights in America, while also showcasing one of his most intricate acoustic guitar composition. A song both political statement and musical innovation. That's rare. The takeaway for us is simple. The most enduring work often lives at the intersection of art and meaning. The making of the was unlike anything he's ever done. Instead of guitars and drums, Paul pushed for a string quartet to carry the song, blending classical music with pop in a way that shocked producers at the time. That risk became a turning point in modern music, opening doors for orchestral experimentation in rock. The lesson is sharp. Innovation comes when you dare to replace the expected with the unthinkable. McCartney admits that Here, There, and Everywhere is one of his proudest creations, but not for its chart performance. Instead, he openly credits inspiration from the Beach Boys' God Only Knows, saying their harmonies pushed him to write more delicately. Fans often expect rivalry between iconic bands, yet Paul transformed admiration into art. The takeaway? Music historian Ian MacDonald once called Here, There, and Everywhere one of the finest love songs ever written. McCartney's agreement with that statement shows how deeply personal and enduring the track remains to him. Critics highlight its balance of simplicity and sophistication, a rare feat that resonates across decades. The real action step for any creator is to aim for timelessness, not trends. Craft something that will feel alive 50 years later. If you're enjoying discovering McCartney's personal Beatles picks, hit subscribe. Why didn't Paul's list lean heavily toward Lennon's songs, even though their partnership defined the Beatles? The answer lies in creative identity. Each Beatle carried unique artistic weight, and Paul's picks reflect his own lens. While Lennon's raw edge shaped the band's bite, McCartney gravitated toward songs that mirrored his melodic heart. The reminder for us is clear. Celebrate what resonates personally. not just what others expect. One of the biggest shocks is McCartney openly praising George Harrison's Something. Paul has called it one of the most beautiful Beatles songs ever written, sometimes even ranking it above his own. Instead of rivalry, this shows genuine admiration. The hidden truth here? Great artists aren't threatened by brilliance around them, they celebrate it. The takeaway is simple, yet powerful. Don't just respect your peers, elevate them. Picture the late 1960s, tensions rising, arguments frequent, and yet Paul sits listening to George's Something in stunned admiration. Amid the storm, the band was still producing gems that even rivals respected. That single moment proved that artistry can transcend conflict and respect can survive even in fractured relationships. For us, the message is lasting. Even when pressure peaks, greatness can still emerge. Fans expected Paul's favorites to spotlight his own greatest hits, yet instead, he honored George Harrison with Something. That choice reveals two truths at once: McCartney's humility in recognizing genius beyond himself, and his deep respect for the band as a collective. It's a double shock, ego set aside, admiration front and center. The lesson is timeless. True greatness isn't about hoarding credit, it's about sharing it. During the Abbey Road sessions, McCartney later admitted he cried while listening back to Golden Slumbers. The combination of fatigue, looming breakup, and sheer beauty overwhelmed him. That raw moment of vulnerability shows that even the most seasoned creators can be moved by their own work. The real-life application is simple. Don't suppress emotion in the creative process. Let it guide you. Sometimes tears mean truths. One of Paul's favorite picks comes not from the band's explosive early years, but from their closing chapters. Late-period Beatles songs revealed a maturity and complexity absent in the beginning. Fans expecting him to lean only on classics from the 60s invasion were stunned. The takeaway is powerful. Your best work doesn't always come at the start. It may arrive later, shaped by struggle and growth. Rolling Stone critics once wrote that McCartney's chosen songs reshaped the vocabulary of modern pop music. That validation echoes Paul's own reflections. His favorites weren't just personal choices, they were cultural pivots. When experts align with an artist's instincts, it proves the staying power of authentic creation. The practical step is clear. Seek feedback from people who understand your craft, not just those who applaud. Even in his solo career, McCartney can't leave these Beatles songs behind. He still plays Yesterday, Let It Be, and Blackbird in live shows to audiences spanning generations. That endurance shows a trend few artists achieve. Songs becoming timeless cultural currency. The takeaway is powerful. If what you create today still matters decades later, you've built more than art. You've built legacy. McCartney's final list doesn't read like a popularity contest. It reads like survival, memory, and love woven into music. From comforting a child with Hey Jude to honoring a bandmate through Something, his choices show that favorites aren't about charts, they're about truth. The reflection for us is simple. Choose your own favorites in life based on meaning, not metrics. What matters most is what still speaks to your soul.